Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Nigerians. It's a good time to be alive. It's another time, another day, And this program, Morning Spring, on Western Spring Television, this is where we look at topical and critical topics, trending ones, in the polity, things that has to do with you, the distinguished Nigerian people, of course, everyone within this territory and the state called Nigeria. That's what we look into, issues of public importance. We dive right into it, 7 a.m. every weekday. And of course, the first part of the program, we'll look into the headlines, major stories that has found its way to the major dailies every day. And at the other side of that, we then get talking about these issues. It gets interesting day after day. FEMI is my name, and it gives me great pleasure. Gives us great pleasure to know that you're always there on this program. The station that sees it as it is, Western Spring Television, channel 190 on the DTT. And let me inform you that we are live right now on our YouTube channel, Western Spring Television. Of course, Eve, good morning.
All right, I love the way you shortened my name, but then a lot of men have problems with our foremother. Eve, they believe she's the cause of this whole crisis we're in the world today.
Okay. Let's call Evelyn.
But then I'm proud of my origin, so I don't mind Eve. Good morning, Femi. How are you doing?
Good morning, fine.
Yeah,
good to see you again.
Yeah, same here. It's another day, another beautiful day, and it's Thursday. And like they say, throwback Thursday.
Yeah, TBT.
And sometimes I just try as much as possible to just do some flashback as to what my life was 5 years, 10 years ago, and just give thanks to God, give glory to God. And same also with our country. Sometimes we should, I know a lot of people would think that the country is in a crisis at the moment, economically.
Economically speaking.
Yes, but then we can still do some throwback, some flashback, and still thank God for the things we've been able to achieve as a country.
Where we're coming from and where we are right now.
Exactly. We might not be where we want to be, but we are not where we used to be. Yeah. We are progressing, we are moving forward. And remember that a change Nigeria begins with you and I. So do your part, I do my part, and when we put it together, it becomes a whole. Remember they say little drops of water will definitely one day.
Ocean. Yeah.
Exactly. And Rome wasn't built in a day. So drop your own brick, I drop my own block, and together we build the skyscraper. Welcome on board. It's Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. And of course, we will start with the headlines. We do a newspaper review, but that will be after this break. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us.
All right, we'll go to the papers right now. But before the papers, every day comes with its own challenge, with its own story, with what has happened the last 24 hours, many things. And then, in Imo State, it wasn't so cool for the leadership of the NLC yesterday. They were there to protest, the right to protest, to assemble, to, freedom of expression is enshrined in our laws. Then the NLC went there to protest about one thing or the other, about Imo State. And we learned the NLC leader, Joe Ajero, was whisked away. By the way, later the police come out to say, no, it was a protective custody.
Took him into custody for protection.
For protection. But then how do you protect somebody? By the time he appears from your custody, he appears bruised.
Brutalized.
The face is swollen, having high back. Then you wonder, does protective custody mean something else? And this is part of what we're witnessing this morning. But, let's get right into it, and we might get to see that story and more. I'm starting with The Guardian today. The Guardian for this morning. Red flag on domestic borrowings. as Tinubu considers 30 trillion naira fresh loan. I'm sure many Nigerians will say, we are back here again.
Yeah, when will the borrowings end?
Red flag on domestic borrowings as Tinubu considers 30 trillion naira fresh loans. And of course, Guardian with the statistics, figures, charts, and Africa's domestic debt vulnerability index at the front page there, and the center with that picture represented in graphs and charts. You see the map of Africa there, and then you see some of those things: most vulnerable, least vulnerable, and some countries with no data. But then if you need that, please pick up a copy of this paper. Moving on, endless bickering over no work, no pay rule in varsities. That's a news analysis on the 4th page. And yeah, just like I talked about it a few minutes ago, NLC president arrested, brutalized in Imo, lands in hospital. The police said he was in a protective custody, but then looking at this picture, how protective was that custody for Mr. Ajero? Quite interesting, awkward interesting, I must say. Page 6, and bricklayer backs life imprisonment for defiling 13-year-old girl. That's gross, sickening, to say the least. Another governor bows to conscience, shuns ex-governor's monthly pension. Okay. He started with former governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniel, and now Mr. Dakwambo is saying the same thing right now. But then it's not that. I think it should be said that allowances and that remuneration should be confiscated or stopped. They said suspended.
So after my tenure as you can.
So what
is it pay or you can continue?
Well, we get to interrogate that, but then it's suspended, maybe for the 4 years, by the way.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And moving on, minister says roads will go up 18 trillion naira in 4 years. 6 contingency fund. Wow, 18 trillion naira. How do we raise that? Okay. Court restrains Rivers Assembly CJ from impeaching governor. Here we go. Like 2-3 weeks ago, or like a month ago, it was first about Philip Shuaibu of Edo State, the deputy governor, and then later it moved to Ondo State. Lucky Aida, who are fighting for his political life. Now it's Siminala Ifubara, the governor of Rivers State, called restrains Rivers Assembly CJ from impeaching governor. And moving on, Emefiele, prosecute, don't enter into plea bargaining. There's an editorial page there. All right, and that will, before that, Tinubu vows to sack non-performing ministers, 6 approval to borrow $7.86 billion, and then 100 million pounds. Evelyn, this money that we are borrowing in foreign currency.
Exactly.
Considering the position of the Naira.
And, when we're paying back, we're going to be paying back in that currency.
Definitely.
So imagine some years back when we borrowed some amount of dollars, and right now we have to pay back. Look at the value of the Naira to the dollar 5 years back or 4 years back, and look at the value of the Naira to the dollar right now.
Even a
we're
year
paying
ago.
more.
Yeah, and now what it is today, and we're borrowing
if not
in
triple.
Pounds and in dollars right now. But then, you want to give it to the people, the financial aims of taking decisions. Possibly they know what they are doing. But then it is instructive to note that the president, is talking tough and vows to sack non-performing ministers.
We hope he can walk the talk.
Walking the talk. All right. That will be it on the front page of The Guardian.
All right, we move straight to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. The front page of the Nigerian Tribune still talks on Wike, the Rivers crisis, as Wike opens up on Rivers crisis with Riders, as she says, nobody can take away our political structure. Impeachment is provided for in the Constitution. Fubara gets court nod, restraining House on impeachment, says nothing wrong if father and son have issues. When I saw this, I remember what Barrister Haya King said yesterday, that it's not a godfather, godson relationship, that it's a mutual relationship of equals.
Yeah.
But right now, the governor is saying, Wike is my father, I'm the son.
That's the import of what he's saying. Father and Pikin de quarry.
All right, let's move still on Nigerian Tribune this morning. OHIOLEI students storm EFCC over arrest of 69 of their colleagues. Femi, this is... I wonder why the EFCC, Financial and Crimes Commission, really have to operate at night. You know, if you want to make arrest, why do you have to do it 1 a.m., 2 a.m.?
Yeah, moving in a nocturnal form, like some kind of, secret meetings or thereabout. But we learned, I think there's a new release from the EFCC that the new boss right there said, I think that was released like 8 hours ago on their X handle of the EFCC, saying they have been told that sting operations at night should stop henceforth. And I think that's a good way to go.
Will they comply? That's the thing. This is not the first time we hear directives from the police, for instance. The IGP gives a directive and you see...
But this is EFCC. Once the boss has spoken, don't let it happen again.
Let's look forward
we hold
to
them
that.
at their word.
All right, still on Nigerian Tribune, we have the picture of the #1 worker right here on Nigerian Tribune with his brutalized face. Right below that, we have Labour talk staff over brutalization, arrest of NLC president in Imo, wants Tinubu to call Uzodinma to order. Ajero was in protective custody, not arrested, says please. More arrest warrant. Court gives Emefiele January 25 to appear over $53 million debt. Lifting forex ban on restricted items will spell doom for poultry industry. This is coming from PAN and it's on page 28. FG needs 18.4 trillion naira to fix federal roads. Humai says, that's the Minister of Works, and more details of that is on page 16. After 72 hours of inactivity, Lagos-Ibadan cargo train stranded at Lagos Port. Delay caused by paucity of cargo, says NRC. That's on page 23. And Akwa Ibom Governor, corporate organization excited over editors' conference in Uyo. All right, that's the march on Nigerian Tribune for today.
All right, straight to the Punch. The Punch newspaper having some punchy headlines for today. And court stops Fulbara's removal. PDP governors consult Wike. Wow, quite instructive there. Consulting. Court stops Fulbara's removal, and PDP governors consult Wike with the riders. Nobody can intimidate me. Impeachment, nor a coup. FCC minister insists. And crisis will be resolved, says Fulbara. PDP governors plan Port Harcourt meeting. All the best of them. Okay, and traders lament as fire destroys 300 shops in Lagos market. Quite sad. You can see the picture there of these shops and stores in flames, and then the men of the fire service doing their job. 300 shops. That must have been, really difficult. Still difficult for persons that are involved in this matter, because if one trader loses his or her shop, you might want to think about the ripple effect of that loss on the person. Either he is a father or she is a mother, somebody's daughter trying to make ends meet, and people, the support system that he is helping or she is helping, and these are the issues. So we hope things will be done.
Yes.
Succor will be provided for them. And bottom strip, reps probe 200 billion naira spent on postponed census. All right, so you were giggling there. Reps probe 200 billion spent on postponed census.
We'd like to know what the 200 billion naira was used for.
Has been used for.
Yes, we would like to know, and I appreciate
and the census,
fact.
Really, the real census has not been done.
Yes, it's 800 billion naira budget, and 200 billion naira has been expended already.
Pre-census.
So I'd like to know, personally as a Nigerian, I'd like to know what the 200 billion naira was expanded on. And I appreciate the fact that the reps are probing this. It's a welcome development.
Right. And my daughter's boyfriend blackmailed her to commit suicide in UK. Father, my daughter's boyfriend blackmailed her to commit suicide in UK. Talking about cyber harassment, cyber bullying, manipulation that goes on in the cyberspace. Sad one there. The agony of a father. And tax-seeking gunmen killed 40 in Yobe attacks. Tax-seeking gunmen killed 40 in Yobe attacks. I think it's only the government that's allowed to collect tax. So who are these non-state actors? Taxing the people, and then possibly once they don't pay, they have killed 40 in Yobe attacks. And it has a spy on the Nigerian state, on the Nigerian institution, that we have some persons that are not, you know,
when you have a
officials,
government within a government, a state within a state, that's what it is.
That's what you have.
Exactly.
Sad, 40 killed in Yobe attacks from tax-seeking gunmen. And top strip, crude shortage delays Dangote refinery. 5 others take off. Crude shortage delays Dangote refinery. 5 others take off. And lack of supply, that's right, that lack of supply to Dangote is shameful, says federal government. Minister blames low production. Here we go. It was launched, I think, in April, the Dangote refinery, April or May, just before former President Buhari left office. And the promise was by June, July, or July, August. Here we are in November. Today is November 2nd. It's yet to kickstart. And then you are hearing barrage of, excuses. By the way, isn't it funny to hear lack of supply to Dangote, shameful, and then crude shortage delays Dangote within that territory here. All right, interesting one. And lastly, Tinubu seeks $7.8 billion US dollars and 100 million pounds sterling fresh loans. That will be all from the Punch for today. Evelyn.
All right, on the Daily Times newspaper this morning, the front page, we have story from Imo. Earlier this week it was Rivers. We moved to Imo. Gunshots, brutality in Imo as thugs, police manhandle NLC president. Hospitalized, not right eye shot. Uzodima's aide leads arrest of Labour leader.
Wow.
TUC NLC report governor to Tinubu vow to shut down state. We took him for protection, says police. Outrage against governor days to election. That on the Daily Times newspaper this morning. And just above that, workers set for protest. Topmost part of the Daily Times newspaper front page this morning. Suffering indigenous contractors beg Wike for payment. That's on page 9. Suffering indigenous contractors beg Wike for payment. Isn't it amazing that contractors will work and they have to beg to get paid? Will they do this with contractors that are not indigenous, foreign contractors? They pay the foreign contractors ahead, but the indigenous contractors have to beg for their payment. But you can get more details of that, like I said earlier, on page 9. And we have our rising input cost deep business performance in October. That's all on the Daily Times newspaper for today.
All right, moving on to The Nation newspaper. And here we go. Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi 2023. Bayelsa, Imo, Kogi 2023. Elections won't hold in 40 polling units. Kogi Central, no-go area. Elections won't hold in 40 polling units. Kogi Central, no-go area. Diri, Silva camps clash over allegations of violence and thuggery. Diri, Silva camps clash over allegations of violence and thuggery. And by the way, it's instructive to say these are 2 former governors, Diri and Timipri Silva, the current governor rather, who is seeking re-election. That's Doye Diri, and former governor Timi Silva. And re-electus Odema, First Lady urges Imo women, of course, that's an ambitious woman talking for her husband there. And perform or get sacked. President wants ministers. Result delivery unit to periodically assess functionaries' performance. And there is a quote here attributed to the governor, to the president, Tinubu. You are going to sign a bond of understanding. Wow. If you are performing, nothing to fear. If you miss the objective, we will review. If there is no performance, you leave us. Wow, that's quite instructive. I remember watching this clip yesterday, and when the president said you are going to sign a bond of understanding, it elicited some kind of applause. When he said we will review, the place went silent, and it's just like that. But then, just to look at this, I think it's a new one in the annals of our nation, at least publicly, in recent times, by the way. And this is part of what some persons accused former President Buhari for, that he just gives a directive, if actually he did that, by the way, and he leaves everybody to just do it the way they want. But President Tinubu is saying we are going to periodically assess you. In fact, he said you are going to sign a bond of understanding. If you are performing, nothing to fear. If you miss the objective, we will review. If there is no performance, you leave us. Nigerians are waiting, by the way, and just like my colleague said the other time, better walk the talk. And then you can see the picture at that meeting that has the House of Reps, Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, the President, Tinubu, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, Head of Civil Service of the Federation, for Lashade Yemi Esson, and All Progressives APC National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje at that meeting yesterday. Moving on. Stock market, 70,000 points, set new record. NGX, it is a boost for economic stability, all right? And then next to it, you have the picture of the man in the eye of the storm in River State, Siminalayi Fubara, rift with Wike over soon. Says Fubara, and minister, it is not about money. Rivers elders urge caution. By the way, it's instructive to say with what has been attributed to the governor of River State, Siminalayi Fubara, saying rift with Wike over soon. That was daily that reported saying it's not a big deal. Fathers and sons fight, by the way. It's a family issue. And so, yeah, it's instructive to say sometimes don't be caught in their wars. By the way, when politicians, have these back and forth with themselves, they know how to settle. Exactly. If you take it too personal, then
you'll be at the losing end.
By the way, and then the bottom strip, 18.6 trillion naira required in 4 years to fix roads, says Umai. Are we sure about that? How do we raise such money? And then do we set priorities? That's for former governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umai, to answer. Top strip. Ajero held to protect him, says police. We could say so much for protective custody, by the way, but then we don't know the position in which it was, the state in which it was before it was, protected by the police. NLC saying he was attacked. All right, we'll get to hear from the man, possibly in the coming days when he's fine. President seeks lawmakers nod to borrow $7 billion. 100 million euros. That is that. And dust over rec nominee substitution in Senate. Also, dust over rec nominees substitution in Senate. And EFCC changes tactics over suspect passport seizure. EFCC changes tactics over suspect passport seizure. Okay, and that will be all from the front page of the Nation for today. And having looked at these dailies, we can get talking really, and it's about what happened like 2 nights ago in the university town of Ife, where the men of the EFCC, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, in their usual word, quote unquote, busted into 2 hostels and then rounded off some students, some young persons, 69 of them, some are saying 70, by the way, and took them to their zonal office in Ibadan. But since then, the center has not really held because the students have been there protesting. Who are you? Why come into our space and do that? And with what has happened, we learned some of the students of OAU as, being released. But then we get to interrogate these further, talking to critical stakeholders on this matter. But then that will be after this break. We take a short break right now. When we come back, the conversation will continue. It's Western Spring Television, the state that says it, the station that says it as it is. We'll be back.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes. Evelyn OHIOLEI, King Eve, how are you today?
I'm good, I'm fine, I'm alive.
I really feel like she's not giving the right answer to the question. When one asks you, how are you? And you said, you're saying, I'm alive. It's very annoying, seriously. How are you? I'm fine. I feel I'm fine would be the right answer instead of I'm alive. Not that I asked you if you're dead before.
Go and check all these 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, everybody, they are extraordinarily sexually active.
I feel is being unnecessarily hyper when it comes to the issue of sex, because we talk about other topics and it feels so reserved. It really doesn't have anything much to say when it comes to other stuff. But when it's the issue of sex, I believe it's being unnecessarily hyper. That's when I have to pick an issue with him. I mean, it's just being unnecessarily there when we're talking about sex. Just like a child, his mom just got him his favorite chocolate or ice cream, very happy, doing as though if he doesn't have sex for a day, he's going to die.
When it comes to finance, women also support their husbands financially. You need me emotionally. You need me spiritually.
Cassie is an amazing person, but I hate the too much attaché to that gender. I need you spiritually, I need you mentally. I can get these things anywhere with money. If you go by the topic was, who does marriage favors the most? I know how many jobless women they marry every Saturday. They are saying it favors you, favor. Are they vex so?
Growing up, when I was in the world, we've heard of
Who are you now?
Well, MC Too Much said, he likes saying when I was in the world. And the last time I checked, but it looks a bit innocent, facially, but deep down, is he actually out of this world? We're all in the world.
All right, you're welcome back. We dive right into the conversation right now. Just like I said before we went on that break about the operation of the men of the EFCC when they went to the university town of Great Ife, rounded off 69 students young people rather, mostly of Obafemi Awolowo University in 2 private hostels. They were said to be internet fraudsters, suspects, by the way, and then they came for them, rounded off, took them in a bus, and took them to the BIODUN zonal office. And that is what has been happening. And the entire school, the student, has been on the matter. They went there at the BIODUN zonal office to protest and say, who are you? What is the offense of our colleagues that you have taken into custody? And then they were there, you know, from all day yesterday and into the greater part of the night. And then that's what we are following. The school has spoken on the matter, but we'll get to interrogate that later. But right now, we have the PRO, Great Ife Student Union, join us on phone at this time, the Public Relations Officer of the Great Ife Student Union. And I'm talking about Elijah OMISORE. Elijah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
All right, good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, sir.
All right, please make sense of what is happening right now. If news is anything to go by, we learned the Efcc came into Ife, stormed some 2 private hostels, and then whisked away young persons, mostly students of Obafemi Awolowo universities. And then the SUG and the students went there, and then you are protesting. What's the situation? What really happened?
Okay, thank you so much for having me. I would love to introduce myself once again. My name is OMISORE Elijah O, popularly and politically known as H2O, the Public Relations Officer of Great Ife Student Union.
All right.
The privilege, and I so much appreciate FEMI for having me online today. Thank you so much. So majorly, yesterday, let me quickly say the story a little. In the hours of 2 a.m. in the morning, some months past, we had information that robbery is going on in an hostel in the estate, of which robbery, that was the mindset, that was the call. And until later we got to know that it was the EVELYN that raided those hostels in Ife, assaulted some of the students, entered their room with force, take their cars, some of their gadgets, and their phones also. Later we got to know that we were moved to Ibadan. In all the capacity of Great Ife Student Union, we went straight down to Ibadan and demand for the use of our students. Because what they did in an illegal manner, even we termed this as adoption, because of which our students were taken to another location and later became new. Because in some of the students in the residence, because we, the union leaders, went to the residence yesterday, of which the students were telling us they don't know where they were taken to. So until later, research and finding with our past alumni, the leaders of the union, and the school management also were able to ascertain where the students are. So when we get there, we were able to meet with the zonal commander and take them on zone. And in numbers, Great Ife students were there. And personally, from my end, I would love to appreciate all Great Ife students for coming out with their number and for yielding to our call at every point in time. Let's Great Ife and get ready concerning great. So we went there in our numbers, demanding for the release of our students and making known that what EFCC did in Ife yesterday at all hours is out of it, and we are Great Ife Student Union. We are not in support of that. And also we make known to our fact that they told us that they had an intention that some of the students, they have intended that students are into cybercrime in that hostel. Great Ife Student Union made them know yesterday that in any way we are not also in support of cybercrime or fraudulent acts. But we have a problem with the mode at which they carried out their operation yesterday. Because the minds of parents were not addressed, the minds of the students also were not addressed. And because we don't know where our students were taken to in the middle of the night. robbery, people call it kidnapping, some people call it abduction yesterday. So that's what the situation yesterday. Of which, based on our meeting with the commandant, the zonal commandant of the EFCC at BIODUN, we made a remand known to them that our students should be released, that EFCC, what they did yesterday is wrong, coming out with odd hour to pick students. There are channels to get people that are culpable of crimes. There are private normal channels to get that done. And also, on getting to the BIODUN yesterday, names of our students, 69 of them have been removed by the EFCC on social media. Students that are not yet guilty, that have not been known for both acts by law, their names have been released already. We told them that they should bring down that name yesterday, and this word was from the president himself yesterday, and also all the union leaders with him were all in alignment with the West. Also, we have now Zone D, we are available, we have Naus, we are available, and all other students were in solidarity with us for the movement yesterday. So, and also, we have the help of Osun State government were involved, and also the special advisor on SG matters to the governor of Osun State, Governor Ademola Ademoke, the person of Mr. OMISORE, was also on par for movement yesterday, and also the Honorable for Ife Central, in front of Honorable Awolowo, was also on par with us yesterday. Even legal team were sent from the governors, from the state government to assist us in our cause yesterday. And we are also been receiving support from chambers. They are ready to take up the situation also with us to get the necessary done and bring out our students.
All right.
Okay.
So yesterday, our demand is we are not leaving Ibadan without our students. And glory be to God, out of 69 that their name was released yesterday, 58 of them was released yesterday. And some of them are presently with their parents, and some of them also came down to different doors. So that is the latest information, sir.
All right.
All right, Elijah, thank you for making clear the situation of that particular report. But I'd like to know, because the EFCC said that they worked on intelligence, that some hostels in Oduduwa Estate, they raided Fine Touch and Superb hostels. We have students who are fraudsters in those hostels, and that was why they raided those hostels at that time. I'd like you to make it clear or confirm to us if this is the first time such an operation has taken place in the school or outside of the school boards connected with OE students.
Okay, on Great Ife, such it's impossible for force to come into campus to pick students.
Okay.
It has never happened. Just force coming out into campus on their own volition to pick students. This, though due to my findings, I'm not sure, but I got to know that EFCC, this will be the first time like that EFCC will be rating Ife in that manner. But I'm not sure of that fact. But that was the information I got yesterday. That.
All right, Elijah, please clarify. After that thing happened yesterday, the raid on those hostels that has to do with the students of OAU, why did the SUG and the entire students storm the Ibadan zonal office? I'd like to know, is it because you are sure that those that have been rounded off are not suspects, really, are not criminals, or you went there because they are OAU students? Two different things now. You know, you could say that, okay, OAU students are affected, let's go there and get them, you know, back. Or because you are sure they are just students and they are not criminals. Please clarify.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, I want to correct something, sir. The union is Great Ife Student Union.
All right.
Not Great Ife Student Union government. It is not SUG. It is SU. Thank you so much for that. So this is my question. As our union, while leadership of Great Ife Student Union, when we were taking our mantle, when we were campaigning, in all regards, our goal is towards utmost prosperity of our students at every point in time. In the history of Great Ife Student Union, the interest of the students comes first at every point in time. Like I said, when I said it the other time, in the morning, the information was armed robbery. The information was forced entry into the hostels. The information was, we don't know the locations of our students. Where are they? That was the first mindset that prompted the movement to EVELYN yesterday. So the major reason, it was later when we get to EVELYN, they were not telling us they had intelligence. Intelligence that does not pass through the necessary quotas. So just taking our students out of the night, which even some of them, even at this hostel, some of them were still traumatized based on that experience because they entered some females' room forcefully. Also, but until when they get there, they see that they were free, they left them, they search some people's laptop, search some people's privacy. So those are what prompts the movement, and we appreciate this movement for coming out in their numbers yesterday. So that was what made the movement down to EVELYN. We must know where our students are, because an injustice to one is an injustice to one, and that is the motto and tradition of both the student union.
All right, two questions here, Elijah, please. During the operation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, I want to know, were any property damaged during the operation? And also, second question, you said 58 of the students have been released. What was the condition for the release?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. First of all, based on intelligence and based on my findings yesterday, some of the hostel doors, yes, you know, first entrance, automatically the hostel doors are not fine. Well, I can't ascertain for a fact, maybe other properties were damaged, but because even while we were at Fine Dust Hostel yesterday, we saw carpenter have to come down again to come and fix. In my presence, carpenter was fixing one door in my presence. Like information has it, cars were taken yesterday, phones were taken yesterday.
The cars belong to the students.
What is it, sir?
The cars, they belong to the students, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So, but I don't have any information as regards maybe cars were destroyed or anything. But what happened now that I have information about, at least my own witness, one of the doors were even repaired by carpenter yesterday at Fine Touch Hostel. You asked another question. What is the question again?
I said 58. You told us that 58 of the students have been released. What was the condition?
Yes. Like they were released unconditionally without anything. They were released because every necessary quarters were involved in this movement, and the justification to that fact. So those students were released. So because they claim that those ones do not have anything to do with the intelligence we had before reaching them yesterday. So they were released.
Elijah.
Yesterday.
Elijah.
Yes, I'm with you.
Yes, how about the 11 others that are still there? Why are they still being detained?
Okay, while we were meeting with the commandants yesterday, the commander made known to us that some of them were found with evidence as regards their intelligence yesterday. So that is the reason why those were still left behind yesterday.
All right. All right. You know, in the statement put up by the EFCC, they said the EFCC arrested 9 suspected internet fraudsters in EVELYN, you know, and they were arrested on Wednesday, November 1st, at Oduduwa Estate area of EVELYN. This from the EFCC Osun State, following actionable intelligence on their suspected involvement in fraudulent internet-related activities. Credible intelligence linked Oduduwa Estate with activities of suspected internet fraudsters. Then they went ahead to release their names. But I understand that tweet has been pulled down now. Right now, it's no more on their website. I mean, on their X handle. But then moving on, the governor of the state intervened on the matter because he made a tweet where he said, that's Governor Ademola Adeleke, I have instructed the state attorney general to work with the school administration, leadership of the student union, and the EFCC to safeguard the rights of the students and ensure that due process is meticulously adhered to. I will continue to keep close watch. Did you think his intervention was instrumental in the release of those students yesterday? I'm talking about the governor.
Like I said, while I was addressing, I made mention of people that speak about in the movements. Categorically, from the, I said that the Osun State presidents were powerfully involved yesterday. And it was even one of the what helped us to be able to have the numbers we have yesterday.
All right. Elijah, seeing the names of your colleagues being put out by the EFCC yesterday online in that now deleted tweet, how did that make you feel?
I feel disappointed, sir. And personally, I said it that during our meeting with them, we demand that tweet be dropped. Even Great Ife Student Union retweeted which was not quite wrong, because I still saw the tweets again on their handle this morning when I woke up. And we still remind them that one of our demands is that the tweet should be brought down. And even at every point in time, on all social media, that every of our students' name that is outside there, because these guys are not yet, they are not guilty, and they've not been charged to court. And based on our legal team yesterday, even affirmed it that it is bad to have done that, because already their state has been on a criminal, they've been put out there as criminals, of which they are not. So we affirmed it yesterday, and that was one of our demands. So if they brought it down now, before this call, then that's good. Because before this call, like few weeks ago, I still checked the handle. I still saw it there. I saw it there. But you saying now that they brought it down, then I'll go and check that again after this call.
All right, Elijah, you have been able to tell us in detail what has been happening. But I'd like to ask, because you said 58 of the students have been released, while 11 are still in the custody of the commission. And according to you, some incriminating evidences were found against them. That's why they will still be in custody. Tell us what are
based on what the information EFCC said at the meeting yesterday.
You do not believe what they say.
I'm not part of the investigator.
All right.
I'm not investigating. I don't have those evidence with me yet. So, but I can tell you that our lawyers on that.
On the matter.
Okay.
All right. Elijah, yeah, the students of OAU were there yesterday. The video has went viral, you know, talking tough, spoke with some of the officials, even did a challenge here yesterday to drive home your point. Tell us the situation right now. Are the students of OAU still camped at the BIODUN zonal office? What's the situation?
Okay, one of our demands yesterday was that we will not leave Ibadan without the release of our students. With the necessary intervention that came in yesterday, and with the massive, I will continually say this, I so much appreciate Great Ife students. The support was massive yesterday. With the massive support, both some of them were unable to join us physically, but I can see the movement online. So, students presently, we all, like personally and with the presidency, we all come back down. But we are still continually working as regards other students there.
Take it down.
All right. So what's the next move of the Great Ife Student Union right now on this matter?
Like I said earlier, legal team are already on it. So the legal team are taking actions at the moment. Even I'm having some intelligence as regards the movements presently, but of which I cannot divulge some of them now. But our legal team are on the situation at the moment.
All right.
All right. Just before we let you go, Elijah, one last question. As an executive of the Great Ife Student Union, would you say that there are no internet fraudsters in the Obafemi Awolowo University, and what is the union going to do to reduce or curb this menace in this institution?
Okay, thank you so much for this question. Based on the information yesterday and based on what we said as a union, our union is not in any way in support of cybercrime and fraudulent acts. So I believe that I've given you an answer to that. We are not in any way in support of that. And we will not even promote that, we will not condone that. So anybody culpable of that, based on the rules of law, we surely face the necessary things. But Great Ife Student Union, like I said, we are not even at the meeting with the zonal commandant yesterday, they make it clear to her and our team that the union is in no way in support of that.
All right. Elijah OMISORE, the PRO of the Great Ife Student Union, thank you for your time, and we wish you guys all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for having me. God bless you all.
Thank you. That is Elijah OMISORE, the Student Union of Great Ife's PRO, or better still, the PRO of Great Ife Student Union, talking to us on from the student angle, the SU, the way he called it, the Great Ife Student Union's angle to the matter and what has happened so far. Good to know that some of them have been released, but then he made one instructive point when he said the union will not condone and will not support internet fraud. And whoever is involved, we have to answer by their own name, by themselves. Good to know. This is the first leg of the conversation. We'll go on a break right now. When we come back, the conversation will continue. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. We'll be right back.
There's nothing better than the roar of your fans. But in Nigeria, there's a roar that may not be heard again. With fewer than 50 lions left in the wild, they could be extinct in the next few years. From loss of habitat and prey, and snares set for illegal bushmeat. Please say no to illegal bushmeat, and let's keep the roar alive for Nigeria. Poaching steals from us all.
The Korean War of 1950 to 1953 pitched North and South Korea against each other in response to intrigues by nations beyond their border with different interests from those canvassed by the two brother nations. The Korean War had all the nuances of an external conflict induced by powers that were interested in subjugating North and South Korea. Japan had leveraged on its military power to annex Korea in 1900 and imposed a military union that did not sit well with the citizens. Japan not only lost its war of conquest against Korea, all its powers were obliterated by the effect of the World War II. The end of World War II got Korea divided into two nations along 38th parallel lines by the instrumentality of the United States of America and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. The Korean War lapsed into a Cold War when it stopped the prying eyes of external forces into the internal affairs of a nation now divided along its north and southern territories. Western Spring Television identifies the Korean War as a major event in history.
Our music is one of our greatest exports, but our wildlife could be another great industry if we protect it for future generations. Right now, it's threatened by illegal wildlife trade. So please, report wildlife crime and say no to illegal bushmeat. Because poaching steals from us all.
Samuel Laduke Akintola was a frontal figure in the historical moves that birthed an independent Nigeria from colonial Britain. As a
arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever is pounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast. Detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
All right, welcome back. The conversation will continue right now. Perhaps you are just joining us. We are live on our YouTube channel, our Western Spring Television, and the conversation thus far has been about the raid by the officers of the EFCC, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, on 69 students of Obafemi Awolowo University in Ife. It happened in the wee hours of Tuesday thereabout, and in the two hostels were raided, and the students were whisked away to the Ibadan zonal office. We've just spoken to the PRO of the Student Union of Great Ife Student Union, by the way. We are being joined right now by the image maker of the great Obafemi Awolowo University, EVELYN, that's the way they call them, party way. The PRO of Obafemi Awolowo University, Mr. BIODUN Olانrewájú. Good morning.
Yes, good morning once again.
Good morning, Mr. Olánrewájú.
All right.
Good morning, my sister. How are you?
You're welcome to Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. And now let's delve right into the matter. Of course, the videos went viral, the raid, the protest by some of your students at what they term injustice to them when the men of the Efcc came and took away their colleagues and the were in BIODUN. 69 of them, and they are not having it, and they are saying, what is going on? Release them to us. But you are the image maker of the school. What do you make of this situation? And what's the position of Obafemi Awolowo University on this matter?
Well, thank you very much, and I want to appreciate your station for bringing this on board.
You're welcome.
When the management learned about the whole show, what we did was I was mandated to go to Ibadan together with the acting chief security officer of the university to see for ourselves whether everybody that was involved in that was taken away was our students. And of course, we got there. We saw majority of our students. We met the student union people that were protesting, which is expected of them. Because I told them that by this protest, you have just been your brother's keepers. But we are here on behalf of the university management. We went to see the authorities of the EFCC. We spoke to them. We sought to see the students. And they took us around the different places where they have allocated them. So we got there. Having spoken, we said, these are students, we identify our students anyway. And we now decided that, please do the proper profiling. They did that. And they released almost 60 of them to us yesterday night. We got back to Ife around after 11 p.m. yesterday.
Okay, you said the EFCC did their profiling and about 60 of your students were released to you yesterday. I'd like to know if all the 69 students that were arrested are students of Obafemi Awolowo University.
Well, the only two persons that I could not identify was because they don't know me. And by that, I couldn't have said maybe these are students, because all others rally around me. They asked them who I was. They told them I was the PRO. That is the PRO of the school. And then I asked the other guy, with the way he dressed, the type of hair on his head and all those. And I asked, are you our student? And since the answer was not too forthcoming, so I just left.
Is there not a way to recognize your students? Is it by them rallying around you and knowing who you are? Don't they have...
Not exactly. You know, like, fortunately, all of them have their phones with them.
All right.
So all I needed was go through your portal on your phone.
Okay.
Let me see your ID. That's all.
And how many of them were able to do that?
Virtually all of them, with the exception of those two.
By the way, it was reported by the EFCC that their phones were confiscated. So how come they were able to recognize you by you going through their portal, or were their phones not confiscated at that time?
Of course, we told them my presence made things easier for them.
Okay.
These are students, and the only way I could identify them was that. And the EFCC officials basically allowed them to use their phones for us, so that we see.
So we learned, you said almost 60, but news has it that categorically it was 58 of them that have been released. Were there any conditions to their release?
Well, they asked us to sign bail bond. We did. And they said as the investigation progresses, if there is a need for us to produce them. And of course, we told them we'll do it. We signed that. Apart from the fact that some parents came on their own when they learned that their children and was were there. So they came.
Mr. Olánrewájú, are you saying that the 58 students that were released to you yesterday are not totally off the hook?
Well, as they say, investigation. That the fact that they even released the student to us is enough celebration in the first instance, because we insisted that we're not going until, they release those who they have found that no prima facie case is filed against them.
All right. We learned the sting operation took place in the night. And, many persons were wondering, why do that? Especially on young people. What's the position of OAU management on raiding those two hostels in the night? Were you indifferent? Were you okay with it? Did you frown at it?
No, please, can you come again?
Yes, the sting operation, that happened, that took, that the men of the EFCC used in rounding off those students at those two hostels, took place in the night. And many persons of good conscience have been saying, why will the EFCC, if actually they had actionable intelligence, the way they are put, why will it happen in the night? Now, I'm asking, what's the position of the OAU management on that? They do frown at it. If you are going to come and then possibly have something to do, are there no processes? Why should it be at the night? Was the management indifferent to that situation? Did you frown at it? Or really doesn't concern you? All you are concerned about is just getting your student?
Well, if you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
I will. Now, in the first instance, we were not primarily concerned about how they rated them. What we were concerned was that get these students back to us. Then, as time went by, we now decided that, the type of clothes these ones were putting on, and we asked the students, were you paraded? They said no. Because the management would not like a situation where students were paraded with the type of clothes they wear, most of them in their night gowns and all those, and night dress and all those. But I don't want to go further on that, because those involved, had done the needful to the university authority.
Mr. Olonrewaju, the names of the 69 students was published on the EFCC X handle, and we have some blogs and some news websites who also published that report.
They ran with it.
But early this morning, we had that particular post on EFCC handle pulled down. But how do you feel that 69 rather names of your students was published online?
Well, I already told you, we had some discussions with the officials of the EFCC on that. And sincerely yours, what they did was okay by their explanation was okay by us, and they did the needful. I don't want to go further on that. The question you're asking, you can ask the EFCC officials. So let it come out from their mouth what they did. But sincerely, pleasantly, they did the needful to the university authority. Those who are students of language and communication will understand what I'm saying.
All right. For some of us who might not be language or communications and language, and for ordinary Nigerians, they would like to know, because that's why this program is being held, to have these conversations, to bring this information, authentic one, and that's why we are very pleased that you could clarify some of these issues. Now, 58 of them have been released, 11 of them are still being held. Is that something you'd like to tell us? Why are they still being held? Is there an official statement? Is there something you know that the average Nigerian would like to know? Because if 58 have been released, how about the other 11?
Well, to be frank with you,
yes,
among the remaining students, there were some of them that, so to say, have cases to answer. We saw them yesterday by ourselves. We interviewed them, and some of them confessed, particularly with the amount they found in the accounts of some of them. They only wanted us to know that this one that they are holding they will have released all of them to us. But I should just come and see things by myself. And of course, we went to where they were, the section where they were being interviewed. All of them passed through the same section, but these ones, you know, their BVN, the money in their accounts, the type of cars they seized from them, and all those things. And they told us that if after taking the investigation today, they found that the money in their accounts that runs into some, I don't know, so that they will call us and hand them over to us.
Now that they will call.
So on that note,
yes.
So we also decided that let them do their investigation, so that it will be as if we are coercing them to the big, because really the student released to us, you know, also passed the same profiling. They passed through this profiling, and they now said these ones will release them. But this one, please permit us to hold them until we find some other things from them. So we left. We left it by around 10:20 yesterday.
All right. And I'd like to ask, the 11 that are still being detained and that investigation is going on, are they afforded the service of a lawyer? Because it's general knowledge when this thing is going on, some, they are not, they have the right to a lawyer, at least all of them, either jointly or as individuals, because one might say is a really needed service. Can you confirm that? Or is the school providing them that? Or will their parent be the one to take care of that, the service of a lawyer?
Well, let me say this loud and clear.
Yes.
It's a two-way traffic here. Don't forget that we are today's children illoco parenting. And we're acting that already. Some universities, actually, the EFCC officials told us pointedly yesterday that that was the first time that university management will come to rescue students in all the areas where they have raided, Ibadan, Lagos, all other areas. That is the first time the university management will come out. So, and without sounding immodest and think this is kudos to the university, because in the first instance, they raided the hostels outside the campus. I mean, some other universities, university management can decide that, now this is outside. Let their parents go and do that. Because primarily, we are concerned with the welfare of our students, and that is the mantra of the incumbent Vice Chancellor, Professor Simeon Adebayo Bamire. And it wasn't around yesterday. If it were to be around, actually, it would have led us down to Ibadan. So, but in this case, there is, I don't want to go political here, but there is one of our alumni who is a member of Osun State House of Assembly, who said he has given instruction to his lawyer to go to Ibadan to assist the students concerning those who have lawyers. I've briefed the management. We will still have a meeting today, but because of this program, immediately after this program, they were going there. And if the needs be, I can give your guard the information, FEMI Adifila, and we will pass the same across to you.
All right. You know, there are something that you said that EFCC confirmed to you, or the students said they were not paraded. But in that post that has gone viral now, we saw some pictures that are attributed to your student being paraded. Can you confirm that? It's a widespread viral clips that these were, they were tagged to have been paraded.
I may not know what the word parade is, but I don't want to pitch a security agency against the other. There are some other security agencies that will ask them to sit down, they will call the press and say this and this and this and that.
Okay.
But what I learned from them yesterday, because these are the questions we asked them.
Yes.
And they were so humane and painstaking in telling us the answer. So, and, you know, like anybody that has phone can also be videoing these students as they are coming down from the car. So, they told me that they were not paraded.
You mean the students?
Hello?
Sir, you mean the students confirmed that they were not paraded?
The EFCC officials told me.
All right.
That we didn't parade your students because I asked them. You said suspected fraudsters.
Yes.
You've not done your investigation. You came to raid, and I told them, look, the meaning of the word raid should be conscious in what you do. You just use blankets to arrest, nets. It's just like if you are, you put a net in the ocean and you catch different types of fishes there. So now, separate the shift from the chaff and everything will go on well. So, and they said they can tell me authoritatively that the students were not paraded, that if they were to be paraded, they will have called the press.
All right.
And we, of course, we have some of our colleagues there, who I called the correspondent of some newspaper yesterday, because I'm also a news person.
All right.
Mr. Olanrewaju, the Great OAU, as you call it, the Great Ife, prides itself as an institution that promotes morals and values. As the image maker of the institution, what is the management of the institution doing to ensure that internet fraud and such a thing is not attributed or associated with the school moving forward?
Well, just like you rightly said, we are Great Ife, and we are trained to dominate our environment. Our students are not known to be fraudsters, nor those who engage themselves in cyber criminalities. Now, if there was a raid and 58 students were released without much ado, you will see clearly that Ife stands out in all areas like that. But let me sound this note of warning to all of us listening to me. You see, now, the students themselves are children and wards of some parents' guidance, and they are from particular families. They attended primary school. They were still with their parents. They attended secondary school. They were with their parents. Most of them went for maybe OND, NCE, and they came through direct entry. They were still with their parents. And don't forget that when you want to form manners and morals, it's from these incubating stages. So the parents handed them over to us when their manners and morals have already been formed. What we do in Ife is to promote the manners and characters. And that is why when we give them degree, certificate, or diploma, we say these ones have been found worthy in learning and character. But along the line, if we find any one of them unworthy of our certificate, degree, or diploma, we withdraw it and we will not give. And that is why in OAU, our punishment is not punitive, it's corrective. So more of this lies with the parents' guidance and their background as family. So they should train the children in a manner that when they get to the university, they'll be good ambassadors of their respective families. That's all.
All right. And just before we let you go, on this matter, of course, trust us to keep tabs with the happenings and development. What's next for, as management of OHIOLEI? What's the next line of action?
When we hold meetings this morning, we will know what to do and how to do it.
All right. Thank you for your time. The PRO of Obafemi Awolowo University, Mr. BIODUN OLANREWAJU, thank you for your take and your time. We wish you and the students themselves, the entire university ecosystem, all the best.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. And there's another leg of the conversation, and taking it from different angles as we do here, seeing it as it is, having informed opinion and balance on this discourse. We take a short break. When we come back, we look at the legal option and, of course, an enlarged opinion on this matter. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Up to 75% of human infectious diseases originates in animals. And as more bushmeat is brought into our cities, the risk of human infectious disease outbreaks increases. Ebola, monkeypox, Lassa fever, yellow fever, and even COVID-19 may have been transmitted in this way. Illegal bushmeat trade not only endangers our wildlife, but affects our health and may damage our economy. So please, say no to illegal bushmeat. Keep them wild and keep us safe.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
and your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
On this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girls got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
These iconic African
all right, as we take it on gradually, we like to have the legal angle to these, and of course, that kind of what has happened still on the matter of the raid on, the university town of Ile-Ife, a particular place, and 2 hostels that has 69 students of Obafemi Awolowo universities, being whisked away to the Ibadan zonal office of the EFCC. It's the men of the EFCC that came for them, by the way. 58 of them already released. We have confirmed that through multiple means right now. But then to have more angle to that, we are being joined right now by Barrister FESTUS OGUN. He is a constitutional and human rights lawyer. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, good to have you. All right, as a legal practitioner, what do you make of what has happened, for the past 2 days or so, the raid on that hostels of the students of OHIOLEI, in which got them to the Ibadan zonal office of the EFCC. The sting operation took place at night. A statement was released by the EFCC. Names were ruled out and published by the EFCC on their X handle. And here we are on this matter. As a legal practitioner, what do you make of that fiasco?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
First, what was experienced by the promising students occupying those hostels was a complete show of shame. Why do I say this? I say this because of the Gestapo manner the indiscriminate manner with which the operatives of the EFCC invaded the residence of this student at the dead of the night to effect an arbitrary arrest. Look, that arrest was unlawful because there is no legal basis or legal justification for the arrest. I have always maintained the position that invading into the premises of a person like an armed robber in a Gestapo manner in the middle of the night is a violation of human rights. Under the Anti-Torture Act enacted in 2017, denial of sleep in any way, shape, form, or manner is a form of torture. And Section 34 of the Constitution frowns at any form of torture or indecent or inhumane treatment. Again, there is no basis, there is no legal or moral basis for the indiscriminate arrest of those students. But now that they have seen that there was no justification whatsoever for the arrest of those students, they were left with no option than to release them. You know, a large majority of them yesterday. Why did they release them if they have committed an offense? That shows you they have not done anything. It was only an indiscriminate arrest, just the same way the EFCC have been doing for the years. There's no basis. That arrest was not lawful. It was not in accordance with the spirit of our laws. I think that was not enough, sir. We also have a situation where the EFCC published the names of these students on social media, even when they have not been tried, they've not been charged to court, and there is no even charge against them. Even when Section 36 or Section 5 of the Constitution stipulates that these students are deemed innocent, are presumed innocent until the court says otherwise. Yes, the EFCC has gone ahead to publish their names, publish their pictures on social media in non-compliance with the extant law. We have always maintained the position that media trial of suspects is illegal and unconstitutional by dint of Section 34 and 34 of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to dignity of human person. If a person's name has been published as a suspected criminal who was arrested in the dead of the night, where is the dignity of that person? It has been taken away. And considering the fact that we are living in a digital world, we know the damning effect of that kind of publication. It has ruined and destroyed their digital footprint. With any employer in the future who wants to employ anyone will first of all put the name of the person on social media, on Google, to check. Imagine you want to employ one of these students in your bank or any financial institution or any organization whatsoever, and you see, after checking the person's name on social media, that that person has been arrested by the EFCC for alleged cybercrime. What do? You will not employ that kind of person because that person endangers your business. This is one out of the many damages the EFCC has done to this student. How about the torture? How about the trauma? How about the invading of the premises? Who paid for the losses? I have said it. Releasing these students is not enough. The EFCC must apologize to the students of Great Ife. Not just that, they must also make reparations by adequately compensating them, they must apologize profusely to the students, and they must pay for their crime. They must pay.
Okay, Mr. Ogun, we know that you have lent your voice on this particular situation, but just to play the devil's advocate here, the commission released their names as suspects, not internet fraudsters, suspected internet fraudsters, and this is really not the first time that EFCC will publish names in this manner. We are talking about this because it has to do with students of the Obafemi Awolowo University. This is not the first time that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission agents will raid schools or will raid houses and will publish the names of these people as suspected internet fraudsters. So what do you make of that?
Whether you say the person is a suspected internet fraudster or a fraudster, what you have successfully done is to cut down into the personality of that person, is to malign the personality of that person, especially when there is no basis for the arrest in the first place. Even before now, we have always maintained that parading suspects, whether publishing their name, even the one police do, they begin to ask suspect questions, is illegal. Our constitution, under Section 34, has made it very clear, it is illegal. Our courts have consistently maintained that the arrest, after the arrest of the person and you begin to interrogate in the media, do media trial, it is illegal. Because this person has presumed innocent until the court says otherwise. So why do you begin to parade them in public there? I think EFCC is more interested in playing publicity stunts than actually prosecuting those that have been actually arrested.
All right.
And for internet related crime.
Yeah,
but that is not the issue.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, sir. How many times have you seen a governor being publicly paraded when arrested by the EFCC? How many times have you seen a senator being publicly paraded by the EFCC? When you see all these big men, how many times are they arrested? These are people that steal billions of naira, trillions of naira that belong to the Nigerian people. But when it comes to these young, promising students, they begin to act in manners that are not compatible to the principles of human rights.
Barrister Festus.
When you use a laptop, or you use a phone, or you have a car as a young person, it is not a crime. You have not committed any crime. Some of these students you see are tech guys who are paid in dollars. But because we have security agencies in the country that still belong to the Stone Age, they cannot understand that in this digital age, you need not plug the age of 50, 60, before you can use a car, or you can live decently.
Barrister, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
All right. So because of the want of time, we have less than 2-3 minutes to go. But quick one. We learned the EFCC has released 58 out of the 69. The Public Relations Officer of the Great Ife Student Union has confirmed that. The PRO of the institution has confirmed that. And he went further to say the 11 that are still with them, that are still being detained, are said to have a case to answer. So at this point, what can they do? Because I asked him, this interrogation of the 11 that has been detained is in the presence of a lawyer. Is it not constitutional that a lawyer must be present? You as a legal practitioner, legally speaking, the 11 that are detained, even the 58 that has been released, legally speaking, what can they do at this point?
Those that have have been released have a right to challenge and redress the illegal arrest, the unlawful detention, the torture, the indecent and inhumane treatment, the denial of sleep by the EFCC. And they have the right to claim humongous damages from the EFCC.
All right.
They also have a right to challenge the arbitrary publication of their names on social media. Because if you look at section 34, subsection 2, A and B of the Nigeria Data Protection Act enacted in 2023, a person whose personal data have been arbitrarily published by an agency like the EFCC has the right of erasure. We call it the right to be forgotten. Some call it right of erasure. They have this right of erasure that you cannot destroy my digital profile. Please erase all these things you have about me because they are not justified. I'm confident those students who are already in consultation with us are going to redress it and ensure that these things are taken away from the public. But for those that have been arrested, that are still being detained, the EFCC has to charge them to court. Because under section 35 of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to personal liberty, the EFCC, upon arrest of a person or any security agency, you have 1 minute.
All right, we'll try and reconnect. We'll try and reconnect with Barrister Ogun to give us what the legal step. Yes. So what those that have been detained should do, you know, even when you are arrested, at least we'll watch that in movies. They will read out a particular thing to you that you have a right to remain silent on this matter, and that anything you do or say,
your lawyer.
Yeah, you know, and if you can't afford, the state will provide one for you. We don't know if that applies in this particular
and I hope we will be able to reconnect with him. I wanted to ask him, you know, he made a statement on his X handle that the OE students who were detained should resist the urge to file a joint suit.
Yeah.
He particularly said they should file separately and bring an application for consolidation. Those whom you defeated on the street should not use technicality to defeat you in
knock
court.
Them off.
That is exactly what Mr. Festus Ogun said on his X handle, and I would really want him to expatiate on that if we are able to reconnect with him.
It's quite, I think many persons are quite interested right now because of the demography that has been affected, the young people. Yeah. And of course, they being students, just rounded up in a kind of manner, you know, using Barrister Festus Ogun's words, in a Gestapo manner that looks like it's an invasion of, you know, a highly classified military operation. Just, you know, students are, you know, are the ones concerned in these, and now 58 of them have been released. Oh, guys, you have nothing to do. Only 11 possibly have a case, you know, using their words to answer. And so many of them who have been wished away in that manner, we don't know what happened. You know, our producers can just put up some of those videos that went viral of some of the students claiming they were slapped, you know, and many of the things that were done to them. But then trust us on this program and on this station to stay on the mat, having balanced angles to these particular situation today. Barrister Festus, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Yes, can you hear us clearly?
Yes.
Yes,
All
yeah.
right. We'll just wrap up with you, Mr. Ogun. But for clarity, and if you can educate us, say in 1 minute or less, you put up a post on your X handle saying that the students who were paraded should file a legal suit, not a joint suit, but they should file a separate suit and bring an application for consolidation, saying that they should not be one in the courts with technicality, even though they have won on the streets. Can you just expatiate on that very quickly?
Less than 60 seconds, Barrister.
Just to make that very clear, that there are inconsistent decisions from our courts saying, well, you cannot file fundamental rights lawsuits jointly because the word person used under the Constitution is singular, and the Interpretation Act cannot be used to interpret the Constitution. However, there are also some other decisions that say, well, if you have joint interest, why can't you file together? You can file the lawsuit as a go, just jointly.
Okay.
All right.
However,
yes,
I, as a legal practitioner, would advise people to stay safe, to stay on the safer path, which is to file it separately.
All right.
To stay safe.
All right.
To avoid any form of complication or story.
All right, Barrister FESTUS Ogun, we want to thank you for your time. By the way, just to put it there, like 9 or 10 hours ago, there was a post on X handle of the EFCC saying the chairman has banned sting operations at night. We don't know, maybe it's as a result of what happened at the OAU, but then, you know, that's the latest development with the EFCC. Barrister FESTUS Ogun, thank you for your time today. A human rights and constitutional lawyer. Thank you for your time. All right, this is where we apply the brakes today on this matter. Trust us to stay on the matter and give you as it comes, because this is where we say it as it is. Western Spring Television. On this program, Morning Spring, we are live always on the program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. And you can follow us, please do, on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook, all at Western Spring Television. God bless Nigeria. FEMI Ojo is my name. See you tomorrow, God willing. Bye-bye.
And remember that you can rewatch this particular edition on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Make the best use of today. I'm EVELYN OHIOLEI. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever expounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast